Good evening. The February 15 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of the City of Longview is now called to order. Commissioner Sage will lead us in the invocation. Please rise.
Please bow your heads. Father God, thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight. Thank you for allowing us to represent this great city. We pray that you will be with us as we make important decisions that affect each and every one of us. Please be with us this evening and the rest of this week. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Let's pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our last meeting in January. Has anyone had an opportunity to review them? Are there any corrections?
Move approval as presented.
We have a motion?
Motion.
And a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is our citizen comments. That portion of the citizen comments are comments that are made other than the public hearing items that we have on the agenda tonight. If you wish to speak on an item that's on tonight's agenda, please wait until that time to speak. If you have other comments, this is the time that you come to the microphone and introduce yourself and give your address. Are there any citizen comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda are plats that meet the requirements of the City of Longview subdivision ordinance. These items will be approved with one vote unless any member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, any member of the public, or the applicant would like an item removed from consent and placed on the regular agenda for discussion. Would anyone like one of the two items? We have two items on the consent agenda tonight. Would anyone like either of those to be removed and placed on the regular agenda for discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda items as presented.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to the regular agenda. The purpose of this meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the applications before the Commission tonight. This is the first of two public hearings required to approve a change in zoning. The Commission also considers plats. The procedure for public hearing items to be followed tonight will be the public hearing will be opened and testimony will be heard in the following order. First the staff, then the applicant, and then the general public. That includes those in support and in opposition to the request. If you're part of a large group with a common interest, we ask that you appoint a spokesperson rather than have each individual restate the same information. When addressing the Commission, please begin by stating your name and address and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing on the matter will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. After each public hearing is closed, the Commission will vote on the request. The zoning requests and the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation will go forward to the second public hearing, which will be conducted by the City Council on March the 10th. We're now on regular agenda item A, and Angela will introduce it.
Thank you. Consider application P22-04 Ruthlynn Terrace subdivision filed by RTSH Investments LLC to plat approximately 0.293 acres of abstract 177 William Robinson Survey into two residential lots located at 714 Jimmy Drive. So the applicant is requesting to plat approximately 0.293 acres into two residential lots located at 714 Jimmy Drive. You saw this application before you, this rezone request, maybe a few months ago. The applicant did rezone this property to townhomes, and now he's going through the subdivision process. The applicant hasn't installed the longside services or the sidewalks. Therefore, staff does recommend a conditional approval with the following requirements: that the applicant provide that estimate and the letter of credit for the sidewalks and longside services. Once all of those conditions are met, the plat would be considered approved. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions of staff? Is the applicant present, and would you like to speak on the request? The applicant is not present. Do the commissioners have any further questions?
Angela, as I understand it, he's going from the zoning that we gave a few months ago for townhouses, and he decided not to do that and go to.
No, so he is going to do townhomes, so townhomes they are on their own individual lots. So townhomes look like a duplex, but there's that property line going down the middle. So he's taking this lot, splitting it into two, but putting one townhome or 2 units on it. But the property line will go down the middle wall.
Okay,
And so right now, the zoning is in place, so now he's just subdividing that lot.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Jimmy's a minor arterial road, is that?
Jimmy is a local street,
Okay.
which is appropriate for this type of development.
Right, but they do have to have sidewalks on the local.
Yes, that is correct, on one side.
On one side of the road,
That is correct.
and how is that determined then, whether it was on the north side or the south side, on who has to put sidewalks?
So when development occurs, unfortunately, the first person usually, in this case, it's a little different where they're redeveloping a lot. But in this case, with redevelopment, the sidewalk goes on that side.
So there's none right now?
That is correct.
So it was part of a master plan community where they were coming in, they could dictate which side of the road, but since it's not, it's just whoever develops first is gonna have to do sidewalks.
So if somebody develops a lot on the other side, they don't have to do sidewalks?
That's correct.
Okay.
And if that commercial property there just north of these 2 lots, the redevelopment, they would be required to put in some sidewalks, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Any additional questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion and a second.
Move approval with the conditions that the staff has recommended.
We have a motion with conditions and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Regular agenda item B, Angela will introduce it.
Thank you. This is a public hearing will be held to consider application Z22-03 filed by Mike Helms requesting a rezone from multifamily 3 to general retail zoning district for approximately .3304 acres of abstract 262, Adjourn survey tract 40-03, section 3 located at 1700 North Eastman Road. As stated in the caption, the applicant is requesting a rezone for property located on Eastman Road from multifamily to general retail. Currently, the applicant actually owns the property just to, fronting Eastman Road. It's currently zoned general retail. He is wanting to build a storage building on this back piece of property and did not know that it was zoned multifamily. Therefore, he needs to rezone in order to further develop this property. Eastman Road is classified as a principal arterial roadway and is maintained by TxDOT. The staff finds the proposed zoning change is consistent with surrounding uses and the adjacent zoning. Therefore, this request does not constitute spot zoning. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions of staff? Is the applicant present? Yes. Would you please come to the microphone, introduce yourself, and give us your address? And you tell us about your project.
I'm Jeannie Gibson. This is Mike Helms. He's the owner. And we had 2 properties in the business, and I believe we were told that we need to combine the properties. So we did that through the surveyor, got that done, and he drew the building the storage building at the back of the building, 10 feet away from the building, and on the side there, everything's like 10 feet away, so they'd have plenty of space through there, I think, and it's on the survey also. And then we have an app that we were told to turn in for y'all, a proposal app for it.
Okay.
For fires, wasn't it for fire lane zones and stuff? also?
So that's a separate process outside of this rezoning
Okay.
process. So
Okay.
you're just, right now, we're just rezoning the property so that all the properties are consistent.
And we have that on this survey here. We just picked up yesterday.
So going from multifamily to general retail to be compatible with the property in front of it.
That is correct.
Correct.
And all the properties around it are general retail.
Okay.
Or within a planned development for general retail.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions from the applicant or from staff?
Pardon me, is the access off of Eastman Road? I can't really tell looking at the map, I guess.
So Mr. Helms owns the property that's fronting Eastman, that's actually addressed as 1700 Eastman Road. And it's all essentially one property, but it is two different tracts of land. But his business is actually at 1700 Eastman Road. And they're wanting to do an addition to the current building on the property that's zone multi.
But there is current access
Yes,
off of
there
Eastman
is.
Road. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, so it's not like a storage unit for rent type thing?
that is correct. It's a storage building for the business at, yes,
So that doesn't create any additional traffic and all that?
that is correct.
That's
Okay, thank you. We will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in support of this request? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Any additional questions or comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion. Where was the second? Over here? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Regular agenda item C. Angela, excuse me.
Thank you. A public hearing will be held to consider application Z22-04 filed by Austin Reich requesting a rezone from single-family 4 to townhome zoning district for approximately 36.892 acres of abstract 262, a Jordan survey, tract 15, section 4, abstract 360, a Jordan survey, and lot 7 Richardson addition located south of Page Road and west of Victor Drive. So the applicant is requesting a rezone to townhome zoning district. You saw this zoning case before, about 2 months ago. He submitted, or actually in October, he did submit a different type of, the subdivision was a little differently laid out. However, it was the same request to rezone to townhome zoning district. Originally, I think it was approximately 60 lots, and now he is proposing 90. He has acquired a piece of property on Victor Drive that would provide that second point of access to allow for him to exceed 60 lots in a subdivision. So with this submittal, yes, he will meet the fire code along with the UDC, providing that second point of access. Page Road is classified as a collector and is maintained by the city. This type of development is appropriate along this roadway as long as access management is followed. The applicant did hold a neighborhood meeting last Tuesday. Staff attended along with a few residents. And so our city engineer also attended and answered quite a few questions about floodplain, drainage, traffic, capacity for water and sewer, which there is capacity for water sewer. There is floodplain there. But through the development process, it will be determined whether or not he'll need to provide on-site detention or whether or not the floodplain can handle that drainage. Those were a lot of concerns that we had at the last meeting that our city engineer did address at that neighborhood meeting. And staff does find that the proposed zoning change is consistent with the comprehensive plan and does not constitute spot zoning. So I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Angela.
The little anchor out to Victor is the lot that he acquired, and that doesn't constitute spot zoning by being in the middle of everything?
No, so spot zoning would be if it was, townhome is consistent with low-density residential, and if you look at our future land use map, all that area is low-density residential.
That lot, is that just for emergency access, or is that open access to anyone?
So it's going to be open access. So it will, if it was just secondary emergency access, in order to get above 60 lots, you'll have to have 2 points of public access.
All right, any questions, any more questions of Angela?
Yeah,
If not,
if I remember right, last time some of the residents had concerns over the utilities out there not having the capacity as is, and we were talking about adding 60, now there's 90. But you said the engineers looked at it and said it's okay?
Yes, both of our city engineers looked at it. That sewer line is a 15-inch sewer line. That's a very large sewer line. And it has capacity for more than that, much more than that.
Okay.
okay, if the applicant is present, would you like to come to the microphone and tell us about your project?
Hi, my name is Austin Reich. I live at 3900 Gable Crest Lane. Thank you for the recap, Angela. That pretty much touched on everything there. So I am still proposing to change the zoning to townhomes. The largest difference from here from 4 months ago is there will be 2 entrances now, and also I'm proposing there to be 90 units instead of 60. So the main 3 concerns from the last meeting were existing stormwater and how that would be handled, the existing sanitary sewer line. So if these units could be, if the existing sanitary sewer line could handle this many units, and then also there was concern that was brought up just as far as the entrance onto Page Road from this tract of land here. So as far as those 3 major issues for the sanitary sewer, so as Angela said, the city engineer did confirm that we could fit up to 120 units with no issues at all. As far as the storm goes, so if I have to build a detention pond to slow the water down, I will absolutely do that. So that all gets handled with the civil engineers that I'm going to hire, and then it's got to go through the city civil engineers as well. So I will comply with all that. And then as far as the entrance off of Page Road, so I shifted over to the west just as far as I could. This is just a preliminary layout here, so this would be the worst case scenario with the 90 units. So I did acquire recently 13 Victor Drive, which is the finger that you see over there on the right-hand side. So it is going to be a main entrance that is going to be built with Phase 2. So Phase 1 would have 30 units. Phase 2, we would then construct the secondary entrance off of Victor Road there, Victor Drive, and then we would construct 30 units there. Then the final phase would be the final 30, but it'll probably be a little bit less than that. So yeah.
I'm confused. Which is the primary entrance?
Page Road. Page Road will have the first 30 units built there towards the north side. So that's going to be the main entrance for Phase 1. Okay. So when Phase 2 gets built, there will then be 2 permanent entrances and exits.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions for the staff or this applicant at this time?
So you had a neighborhood meeting about this. How was their reception about that second?
It really turned around, honestly. I was really happy with their comments. It didn't really seem like they were too familiar with the process and where the boundaries were and where the creek is in relation to their property, which the majority of the people that were that had some issues with this were on the Windsong side, so on the opposite side of the creek. So I do think that a lot of those issues were taken care of.
Angela, do you agree with that assessment? You were at the meeting?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I agree. I think most of the people, there was actually quite a few people from Victor, and they seemed to be okay with it. They had a lot of questions, and staff as well as the applicant did answer a lot of those questions or concerns that they had. I think most of the people that were concerned, yes, were on the Hummingbird Windsong side, and I think they were pretty happy because the floodplain does kind of cut through that, and no houses will be abutting their development.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
We will now open the public hearing. Anyone that would like to speak in support of this project, please come to the microphone. Hearing none, anyone that would like to speak in opposition or has further questions, come to the microphone, please. Any additional questions or comments? We will now close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
Move approval as presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Regular agenda item D. Angela will introduce it.
Thank you. A public hearing will be held to consider application Z22-05 filed by Kyle Stevens requesting a rezone from agricultural to general retail zoning district for approximately 1.315 acres of Lot 1, Block 1, Good Shepherd North Park, located at 323 East Hawkins Parkway. The applicant is requesting a rezone. The applicant does own the whole tract of land, and the tract of land actually fronts Hawkins Parkway. There was a residual portion that was not rezoned whenever that rezone did occur. And North Park is looking at doing an addition to this location, and therefore they need to rezone the rest of their property to general retail. Hawkins is classified as a minor arterial roadway and is maintained by the city. Staff finds the proposed zoning change is consistent with surrounding uses and adjacent zoning. Therefore, the request does not constitute spot zoning. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
So it's kind of unclear on the map. It looks like that piece is owned by Nance, Keith, and Leslie, or is that?
The northern piece is
Oh,
owned
okay.
by them, yeah. So this,
Kind of has
this,
kind of a weird property line.
yeah, it does have a strange property line.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, so they do own it, it's just, okay.
Yes.
Any other questions of staff? Is the applicant present? Would you like to add some comments? You're open for questions. You have any questions of the applicant? If so, we'll invite you to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Jim Gatan.
Hi, my name is Lisa Oberthier.
And we're with Good Shepherd. Really, it's a project that we're doing there, and it just identified that this small section, as she mentioned, just happened to not be zoned at the time that the rest of the property was zoned. We're just looking to make that change so we can continue with the project.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? Thank you for
right,
coming
thank
to the
you.
microphone. We will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in support of this request? Anyone that wants to speak in opposition? Any additional questions or comments? The public hearing is closed, and we will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The last item on the agenda is staff update. Angela will produce.
Yes, ma'am. So all items that were presented to City Council were approved. And then I also do have one additional update. The sidewalk variance on Magnolia Lane. I know it was mentioned that the fire station should have a sidewalk, and the fire station there will be a sidewalk on the fire station property. So I just wanted to let y'all know.
That's good news.
It is.
Excellent. With no further business to conduct, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for attending and your participation.